Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I read in the month of July. July was a crazy month for me. I have to say, I was grabbing all of these books, creating my little wrap-up stack, and I totally forgot about some of these books. July was simultaneously the longest month of my life and also the shortest. I don't know why, but I really had to remind myself what I thought of these books, what their ratings were, so on and so forth. So this wrap-up might be a little bit all over the place, but I do have a couple of new all-time favorites, which I'm very excited about. I don't really think I read anything too bad. Maybe there's like one or two stars, but overall I had a very good reading month. I'm very happy with what I read, and I did also participate in Questathon throughout the month of July, which is hosted by my wonderful friend Sahar over at Basically Bookish Reads. I once again just want to say thank you so much, Sahar, for asking me to co-host Questathon. It was so much fun. Team Hobbits forever. At the time that I'm recording this, I don't know what team has won, but hopefully it's the Hobbits. I don't know. By the time this video is posted, I think that Sahar is going to announce who won, but anyway, Team Hobbits forever. I had a really great time, and because of the prompts that we had, I was able to read some very new and interesting books, and I'm excited to talk about them with you today. But before we get started, please make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload from me. I upload bookish content every single week. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about these books, not necessarily in order because I honestly don't remember the order that I read these books in. So I'm just gonna go what comes to mind first, and I do want to talk about the Kindle Unlimited books that I read first just because I don't have physical copies of those. I'll put up pictures. So the first book I'm going to talk about in my July wrap-up is going to be Ivy by Willa Nash. This is a contemporary romance series, and it kind of has like Gossip Girl vibes. There's sort of these mystery, thrilling aspects going on in the background. Basically, we have three main characters. We have three POVs of Ivy, Alora, and Cassia. They all go to a very prestigious university together. We follow their love lives and also sort of just these mysteries and secrets that they keep from one another. This book unfortunately ended up being a 2-star for me. I don't know, you guys, like this, I wanted it to work out so badly. Unfortunately, my biggest issue with this book was I just felt like everything was so surface level. I wasn't really super into the characters. You know, Ivy was supposed to be like this evil Blair Waldorf, very mean girl, whatever. She was totally fine. She was like so normal, and that mean girl storyline was abandoned very quickly. I felt like the romances that each of these girls were in were just so flat and so bland, and the guys were so boring, and I could not tell the difference between them. I don't remember their names. I don't know anything about them. They were not distinct at all. And the mysteries and the secrets that these girls had were just like, I don't know. I couldn't care. I wasn't invested in the characters. I don't think the romance was developed enough. I don't think the secrets and mysteries were that interesting or thrilling. And then even when the mysteries and secrets were revealed, I feel like the stakes were so low and nobody really cared, so why should I care? So this was a 2-star for me. I do see very good ratings for this book on Goodreads, so it's probably just me. I'm the outlier, but this was a very boring book, and that is why I gave it 2 stars. The next book in my July wrap-up is going to be Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. This is the first book in the Devil's Night series. The Devil's Night series is a dark bully romance, and the first book follows our main character. She kind of was involved in putting some men into prison a few years ago. They get out of prison and they want to take revenge on her. It is a dark bully romance. Gonna say that right now. If that is not your thing, if that is not your bread and butter, I would not read this, but I loved this book so much. I loved it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought that this was going to be like a cute little 3-star moment, but it was a 4-star. I had so much fun. I really like Penelope Douglas's writing. I think that their writing is just very captivating and gripping, and I was really drawn into the story pretty much immediately. I really enjoyed the romance that happened in this book. It was super fun, and it also had levels of emotion and tugged at my heartstrings. And there were also very dark, intense moments in this book that shocked me, and I was just like very blown away. And I don't know, I really don't have anything bad to say about this book. It wasn't a 5-star just because like it's not a favorite of all time, but I thought it was excellent. I am very excited to continue on with the series. The next 3 books follow the other guys in the like Devil's Night crew, whatever they are. I'm excited. It was really interesting, really fun. I totally recommend if you are looking for a dark bully romance. It was amazing. All right, and the next book that I read in July is There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. I did read this on my Kindle, but I enjoyed it, so I wanted to pick up the limited edition covers. I got this one, and then the second book is There Is No Devil. So this is the Sinner's Duet by Sophie Lark, and it is a serial killer romance. So obviously that comes with darker themes. Definitely check trigger warnings. And this was a dark book, but I loved this book, you guys. I gave it 4 stars. I was so enthralled in this story. This story follows follows Cole and Mara. They are both artists living in San Francisco. Cole is a very like renowned, famous artist in San Francisco, and Mara is kind of like struggling on her way, trying to become a bigger artist. Their paths cross and Cole kind of gets obsessed with her, and Cole also happens to be a serial killer. He only kills men though. And they have a very interesting dynamic and relationship, and a romance blossoms. What I actually enjoyed the most about this book, one, I thought that Cole and Mara's like tension and attraction to each other was done really well. It was very interesting and intriguing. But two, there's this whole other obviously like serial killer crime thriller aspect storyline happening in the background of this book, and it was interesting and scary and chilling, and there's like other serial killers involved in this book. It was a lot. It was a lot, but I think, first of all, as I said, of course, check trigger warnings. Of course, make sure that those things don't turn you off and you still want to try this dark romance book out. I definitely say go for it. I feel like even if you're somebody who you really like dark thrillers, dark horror, even if you're not a romance person, I think that you could enjoy this book. It is quite spicy, but I will say that the darker things happening were super interesting, felt very true crime. I was like nervous a lot of the time while I was reading this book, and I just loved Cole and Mara's relationship and their dynamic, and I appreciated that there was a lot of build-up and tension between them before the spice happened, and I don't know. I think this was really well done. It's a serial killer romance. I didn't think I would love it, but I absolutely did, and I totally recommend. All right, the next book that I read in the month of July was Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. This is the third book in the Twisted series. The Twisted series follows a group of 4 best friends, and each of them have their own book and their own romance. So Twisted Hate follows Jules and Josh. Jules is a law student, and Josh is an ER doctor. They have basically known each other for a very long time and have hated each other, and Josh is Ava's brother, and Ava and Jules are best friends. So we have best friend's brother, we have enemies to lovers. It's a very good time. But this story is a little bit unique because it goes from enemies to enemies with benefits to lovers. So there's a whole like shift in their relationship and their dynamic, and you kind of get to see them go through these different stages. And I loved this book. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I just really like Jules and Josh. They were interesting to me. They were fun to me. They were both very well matched, which I really enjoyed. And this was going to be my favorite romance of the year until I read a different book, which I will be talking about in a few minutes. But I think this book is excellent. It's my favorite in the Twisted series so far. I will be reading Twisted Lies this month in August with Christina and Cami, and I hope that it lives up to this one because this is definitely my favorite in the series. I thought it was so good. And the best thing about Josh and Jules is even after they got together, the banter between them did not stop, which I hate when enemies to lovers get together and then they're like super nice to each other. It's like, no, come on, we need banter, we need jokes, we need teasing, we need something, and that continued with them, which I really appreciated. So definitely recommend. This is a 5-star romance for me. The next book that I read in the month of July is The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. So this is a really interesting plot, and I really enjoyed this book. This follows 2 co-authors. They wrote a very famous, very well-known and successful book together, but after that book was published, they never worked together again. There was kind of some like drama, and people were wondering what's going on between them. And then a few years later, due to circumstances, they have to come together again and write another book and try to kind of recreate that magic. They go back to the house that they rented in Florida where they wrote their first book. So you have like forced proximity, kind of enemies to lovers, kind of hate to love, and you have to find out why did they stop working together so many years ago, what happened, what's been going on with them since then, and how do they feel now. I thought this book was really beautifully written. Something that I really enjoyed about this book is the co-authors are actually husband and wife, and I do think that that really aids to the intimacy and relationship between our 2 main characters. This kind of almost like teeters into literary fiction, just like a little bit. The writing is just a little bit more like literary fiction-y than a typical romance, I would say. This book is also dual timeline, which I really loved. I loved going back and seeing them writing their first very successful book for the first time, and then you're also in present day and they're working on their new book, and then those timelines kind of meet and you find out what happened between them, and it was really good. There was obviously a huge focus on books and writing and publishing and all of that, which was very interesting, and I thought that this romance was very sweet. So yeah, 4-star for me. Absolutely loved it. Okay, the next book that I read in July is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. So this book is sort of enemies to lovers. It is our main character. She's about to get married, but then her fiance sort of leaves her at the altar, and she finds out that the best man, who is also his brother, convinced him basically to not marry her. So she hates the best man, she hates her ex-fiance, and then years down the road, our main character ends up having to work with the best man, the guy who called off her wedding essentially, and she obviously hates him, but a little bit of an enemies to lovers romance ensues. I really think that the premise of this book is very sweet and very cute. I will just say though, I think I gave this book like 2 or 3 stars. To be honest, I just felt like it was very insta-lovey, and we didn't really drag out sort of the tension between these two characters for very long. They were getting along like right away, and kind of any time that they weren't, it just felt very like halfway there, and I just didn't really believe it between the two of them. I just didn't really find this romance one that I could root for or really care about, because I just didn't think that it was that tension filled. I really liked the premise. I liked the writing style. I just felt like the romance felt very flat for me. I just wasn't interested. I just didn't care. There was also very, very weird dialogue during the spicy scenes. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. This one just, it didn't work for me. It didn't vibe with me. I wasn't invested in the two characters enough to care about their romance, and they got along way too quickly for my liking. So unfortunately, this was a 2-star. The next book I read in the month of July is A Twisted the Blade by S.M. Gaither. This is the second book in the Shadows and Crown series. The first book being The Song of the Marked. This is a book that I've talked about a lot on my channel. I read it in May or June, I want to say. It is a fantasy romance series on Kindle Unlimited, and this is the follow-up. So I absolutely loved The Song of the Marked. I gave it a 5-star rating, and I gave this book 4 stars. Obviously not going to talk about kind of what happens in this book very much because it is a sequel, but overall the series follows a mercenary named Cassia. Cassia lives in a kingdom where this plague is going around, and a lot of people die from it, but she has somehow survived from it. She ends up getting kidnapped by the captain of the guard, brought to the castle, and the king wants to use her and have her team up with the captain of the guard to try to find a cure for this sickness. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot of gods involved. There's this enemies to lovers, forced proximity romance happening, and a lot of really funny side characters. So I absolutely loved the first book, was very, very excited to read the second. I still loved this book. I really like the writing style. I love our characters. I love everything. The only thing I didn't like about it was, and I said this in my vlog, and it's very vague, but because this is the second book in the series, I'm gonna be vague. Basically, there's a storyline in this book that I feel like we sort of built it up to go one way in the first book, and then it kind of went a totally different way in this book. And I do sort of wish that it went the way that I thought we were going. And so it was just a little bit disappointing in that aspect, but I still love this series. I still absolutely recommend it. I did already buy the third book, which I believe is called The Call to the Void or Call to the Void, and I will be reading that shortly. The next book that I read in July is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. This book was so much fun. This book is such a good time. The writing style is hilarious, and I cannot recommend it enough. I know I'm like already out the gate saying that I'm recommending this book before I even tell you guys about it, but I love this book. I gave it 4 stars. This book follows a couple, so fiancés, and our main character basically thinks like, I don't really want to marry my fiancé anymore, and I don't really think he wants to marry me anymore, so I'm gonna make him fold first, because if he breaks up with me first, I won't have to pay for all of the wedding stuff that we've already secured and put deposits down and everything. But if I were to fold first, I would have to pay for all of that. So this book is like very funny and very lighthearted. It does have some really deep heart at the end, which I appreciated, but I was laughing out loud reading this book. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really cute. It was a little over the top at some points, but I still had a really like good time with it. I just was down to ride the ride with this book, and it was very sweet by the end of it. So definitely recommend. This is sort of like a second chance romance and really funny, really, really witty writing, which I absolutely loved, and I'm excited to read more from this author. The next book I read in July is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a YA thriller, which is definitely like not my genre, not really a genre that I typically gravitate towards, but I wanted to read it just to kind of like step out of my comfort zone and try something different, and I absolutely loved it. I also gave this book 4 stars. I think this is like the month of 4 stars, which I'm very happy with. This follows our main character. She goes to a high school where a girl goes missing and is presumed dead. Everyone assumes that her boyfriend did it, but our main character thinks that he didn't do it, and she sort of sets out to clear his name. I ended up listening to the audiobook while reading this, and I really enjoyed that because it sort of incorporated the mixed media aspects of this book very, very well and done in a very fun way. It was really fun, really lighthearted. Obviously, there are like darker themes going on, so definitely check trigger warnings, but for the most part, it was really fun, and I had a good time trying to figure out, you know, who done it along with our main character, and I'm excited to continue on with the trilogy. All right, and then the last book that I have to talk about that I read in the month of July, you guys already know. If you follow me on Instagram, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about this book, but first of all, one of my lovely friends here on BookTube named Lachlan at Locke's Library, I'll have her channel linked down below. She started talking about and posting vlogs about this book and book series called Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. She was very affected by it. She said she absolutely loves it. She says that the 3rd book in the series is her new favorite book of all time. So I was very, very intrigued. I think Lachlan has great taste, so I wanted to check it out. So in the month of July, I did read the first book, Magnolia Parks. Oh my god. And I like literally fell in love, you guys. This book is incredible. If you can see these tabs, I tabbed just the crap out of this book. I highlighted a ton, and I want everyone to read this. Please, 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 please read this book. So this is a contemporary romance series. This book follows two main characters, but also kind of their whole friend group. Basically, this is a friend group that are all just like very rich kids, socialites living in London. So you have kind of this Gossip Girl aspect. There's also a lot of found family. So you also have a Calloway sisters aspect. There's also just sort of a lot of other stuff going on that kind of brings in the Euphoria aspect. So I've seen a lot of people say this, and I agree that if Gossip Girl, Euphoria, and the Calloway Sisters series had a baby, it would be this book and this series. In this book, we primarily focus on Magnolia and BJ. Magnolia and BJ have a very complex relationship, and this book is kind of about them navigating what their relationship is going to be. Are they just going to be friends? Are they going to get in a relationship? They have a lot of complicated and sort of messy feelings going on, and there's a lot of history there, and yeah, that's all I really want to say. I don't want to talk too much about this book. I also have a vlog coming out where I read the entire series, or what is out of the series so far, because there are going to be more. I believe there's one coming out in December and then another next year. So look out for that vlog. It should be my next video, but I will just say this book absolutely blew me away. My favorite thing about the book is the writing. I think the writing is beautiful. It really touched me. I really connected with it. I love these characters for all of their flaws and faults, and they definitely have them. I loved reading about them. I thought they were so interesting, so fascinating, and they have a really, really special place in my heart. Good, bad, and indifferent. I still absolutely love these characters, and I just loved every aspect of this book. This is a fictional world that I want to live in. Like, I love these characters so much. Absolutely, like, I can't say enough good things about this book. This is the first book in the series, and then you read Daisy Hates and The Long Way Home. So I am actually currently right now reading The Long Way Home. I should be done with that soon, and then my vlog will be up. I am doing an entirely spoiler-free vlog, so if you're interested, if you want more of my thoughts, definitely go watch that vlog once it is up. This book has my heart. As of right now, it is my best book of the year. Beating out Hosab, which if you know me, like, that's saying a lot. It did something to me. It kind of, I talk about this in the vlog, but this book feels very significant in my journey as a reader. I feel like this definitely sort of changed the game for me, how I view romance, how I view contemporaries for sure, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited by this series. I'm so excited that a lot of you have been picking it up, and I hope that a lot more of you pick it up. I do just want to talk about the trigger warnings with this book though before you get into it. There is trigger warnings for cheating, drug use, and drug overdose, so definitely if those are triggers for you, you're going to want to avoid this book, but if that does not turn you off, I definitely recommend go in, have an open mind, have a good time, and fall in love, because this book is amazing. It means everything to me. I can't stop thinking about these characters, and I'm probably never going to shut up about it. So you guys should read it too, so we can all not shut up about it together. All right, so that is it for my July wrap up. I had a very good reading month. I hope that you did as well. If you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and leave the bee emoji down in the comments, because bees are very significant in Magnolia Parks. If you know, you know. As always, my Instagram and my Goodreads are linked down below. You guys are welcome to follow me on there at any time. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.